You want to know a sad truth about something that is a result of our interest rates being low? Everyone's like, yeah, low interest rates. We had great rates. We were able to buy a house. Well, there's a drawback to this. Let me give you a really sad statistic. Homelessness is up through the roof. It is higher than it's been ever. And let me give you some stats about that. You know, in just the last year, the last 12 months, homelessness in the US increased by 18%. Just picture that, 18%. How is that even possible? How is it possible that in a time when the economy is, relatively thriving, right? Yeah, sure, we have some people losing jobs, but our jobless claims aren't through the roof. And yeah, there's some, some businesses that are suffering a little bit. Maybe you don't get as much overtime, but it's not like it's bad. In fact, right now, our unemployment rate is pretty good. So even without the whole unemployment problem, we have a record high homeless people. And I think that's partially driven by the lack of affordability when it comes to homes, right? Or rentals, that counts as part of that, because rental rates, even though this month they're not at record peaks, they are not very far from it. And by the way, today I took a little drive to Woodmere Park in Venice, Florida. My name is Maciek Zaremba. I'm a real estate agent here in the area, Sarasota, Manatee counties. If you have any questions, please reach out. And also, if you like these videos that I talk about real estate, please consider subscribing. It's probably the best thing you could do for me. Or just write me a comment, ask me a question, and I'll do my best to answer you. But let's get back into our homeless situation and why it's happening, because it's really sad, right? Like, I know that some people are voluntarily homeless, but I think the majority of people are not voluntarily homeless. So, it's like, it's a problem. It's a sad problem. There has to be some answers to it. Low income housing or government subsidized housing could be a good answer. Unfortunately, the current presidency, the Democratic campaign of Harris and Biden have basically given the homes to illegal immigrants, which is ridiculous if you ask me. But either way, this is not a political post here or political video. This is just about what is the reality. The reality is a lot of people came across the border and got free housing in some states. And unfortunately, the real people, the Americans, the citizens of this country, the ones that need it, they are not getting it, which is why we have record high numbers of homeless people. Over 770,000 folks. Can you imagine that? And the other thing is, this number is probably undercounted, because one thing that it doesn't take into account is the people who don't have a home and they are, living at a relative's house or at a friend's house or something like that, not truly on the streets. But does that mean that they have a home? No, not necessarily. They might have temporary shelter. Let's call it that, okay? Now, another part of homelessness that we have to look at is family homelessness. Now, when these statistics are being done and these surveys are being done, they basically look at a family as a family unit, and sometimes that does include children, but not always including children. And the staggering number of family homelessness increases is crazy. It is 39% higher. Would you believe that actually the large increase in homelessness is actually from families, people who used to have a home, most likely, and no longer have a home. Now, is that possibly due to the illegal immigration? Yeah, that probably played a role in that, okay? Not necessarily in every state, but I would say that the states where a lot of the illegal immigrants came and were bused to or flew into or whatever the heck happened, there's a lot of families that came running away from the tyranny of their own countries to America, land of the free and the brave. And that doesn't mean they have a home, right? Some people did get money from the government, some people did get housing, but this 39% increase, it's sad. It's sad. What can we do about it? You know, what can you do about it? That's a real question. If this is a cause that is, you know, close and dear to your heart, well, you can do something about it. If you care enough, you can do something about it. Whether it's donating money or opening up your home to a family member in need, I don't know. Maybe you can move, you know, your siblings into your home and have one of them rent out something at a lower rate so that the homelessness goes down. Because, you know, some people that are homeless, they just can't afford to rent at fair market value. Maybe they just need a 20% discounted rate. I don't know. Everyone's in a different situation. But I think one of the saddest parts of all of this is the increase in the over 65 community, right? The senior citizens, people who, you know, they've lived their life. And is there really a reason for them to be homeless? Really, is there a reason for anyone to be homeless, you know? Well, here's the deal. 6% increase year over year of people who are 65 years and older. And I wouldn't, you know, doubt that some of those people purchased a home a long time ago, sold their home with the hopes of, you know, maybe traveling a little bit and then eventually settling down and buying something and then not being able to afford it anymore. Or maybe not doing the research to how do you qualify for a loan, and then they just can't qualify for a loan because they're retired and they don't have any income coming in. You need income to get a loan, you know? They're not just going to give it to you just because you have a good size down payment. So overall, this is a sad situation, and I hope that the next administration makes changes to reduce the number of homelessness. And I know some people are voluntarily homeless. Yes, that is true. I've worked with homeless people. I've talked to many homeless people. I even have another YouTube channel where I interview homeless people. And, you know, some people just want to be disconnected from the system. Some people are disgruntled at the system. Some people had it all and lost it all and are in a substance abuse pattern. Not everyone is choosing to be homeless, but some are choosing to be homeless. And really, we should just change that word too. I wouldn't call it homelessness. I would call it houselessness. You know, everyone has a home. Everyone, whether it's like a place like right here where people just throw trash around, right? Or whether it's a single family home or a condo or even a trailer. It doesn't matter. You know, everyone has a home. Home is wherever your heart is. I saw one of those, you know, cheesy plaques for sale at TJ Maxx the other day. Anyway, what can you do about it? Do you want to do anything about it? If you do, let me know. Just make a comment. Now let's talk about real estate in regards to this topic. And then take a look at this. Walking under a bridge in Ban. Whole bunch of trash from houseless people. I'll just call it houseless from now on. You know, no wonder they get a bad rep. There's trash everywhere, but why is there trash? Because there's no trash cans out here. There's no trash cans. City's not picking anything up, right? Anyway, let's talk about real estate, because when it comes to the interest rates and what we're expecting to happen, I don't know if it's going to help people who are in a desperate situation with housing. Let's just talk about two situations. First situation is if our interest rates go down dramatically, okay? Let's just say we go to like 4.5% within 12 months of this video. Now, there's good with that. There's also bad with that. So the good is a whole bunch of people will buy houses, but it's not going to be the homeless people. It's not going to be the houseless people. It's going to be people who have jobs and can afford it, who have their down payment and so on. And with a low interest rate, investors get into the game too. So investors buy up more homes. And then once they own the home, well, what do you think happens? Do you think the rent rates go down? No, they go up, because it doesn't matter what happens with the prices. It happens, it matters with the payment. So if the payment ends up going up because a landlord that's owned the property for 20 years, renting something at $1,000 a month, sells it, the new landlord is probably going to put fair market value at like 1,800 or whatever it happens to be, but it's just going to be higher, right? And now let's talk about the second situation. What if interest rates just stay the same? They don't move, they just stay at 7% for the next 4 years during the Trump administration after he gets, sworn in about a month. Well, I'm thinking that what's going to happen is that we might actually have prices come down a little bit, rental prices come down a little bit, because there's still a lot of new construction, multifamily going up, and all the single family home landlords and duplex landlords and so on, like myself, we have to compete with this new construction that's just beautiful and beautiful pools and all these amenities. So usually all we can do is, just lower the price. Instead of dumping 20, 30, 50 grand into it to improve it, we just lower the price, right? So it's possible that prices might come down if the rates stay at this level for 4 years. And if interest rates go up, well, I'm pretty sure prices are going to change if that happens. Now, either way, it doesn't really matter what happens when it comes to me. Like, I don't care if rates go up or down. There's always people going to be moving. I'm a real estate agent, right? There's always going to be people moving, buying and selling and finding opportunities. But regarding the homeless, that does matter. That really does matter. So it's almost like an economy with higher interest rates are a good thing for people who are homeless, and maybe they're just barely homeless. Maybe they can afford $1,200 a month, but it's currently $1,500 a month, and they're living out of their van, a family living out of the van as they wait for those prices to come down, or maybe they save up and so on. Now, of course, there's always public government funds, there's public programs to help people out. I don't know if that's the answer either. It is for some people, but like I said, some people are just voluntarily homeless. Doesn't matter how much money you give them, they're not going to spend the money on a rental, period. That's just, that happens, right? And then at the end of the day, even if you do help out homeless people with money, where does that money go? It goes to landlords like me. It goes to people who own the houses or multifamily, complexes and so on. What do you think about this? I've never done a video on homelessness before, and the stats are really bad. They're the worst they've ever been. What are your thoughts?